A lost button.
Okay guys, a new one from the Frog and Toad series. Frog and Toad are best friends. Bailey's my best friend. Right, Bailey? You're my dog best friend. I have human best friends too. You're being forewarned. She's been very rammy today. She's wanting to play a lot of fetch with this ball that she has managed there to squish. So you'll see that ball going by a couple times. So in this Frog and Toad Are Friends story, today's story is called A Lost Button. Did you ever lose a button off of your shirt? Off of your sweater? Off of your coat, maybe? Well, this is about a lost button. So here we go. So I'll show you the first picture. It's a drawing of Frog and Toad. I want you to put that in your imagination. Ready? Take a screenshot with your eyes. Do like this. Okay? Is it in there? Here we go. A lost button. Toad and Frog went for a long walk. They walked across a large meadow. They walked into the woods. They walked along the river. At last, they went back home to Toad's house. "Oh, drat," said Toad. "Not only do my feet hurt, but I've lost one of the buttons on my jacket." "Don't worry," said Frog. "We will go back to all the places where we walked. We will soon find your button." They walked back to the large meadow. They began to look for the button in the tall grass. "Here's your button," cried Frog. "That's not my button," said Toad. "That button is black. My button is white." Toad put the black button in his pocket. That's some pretty tall grass they're walking through. Excuse me, a sparrow flew down. Do you know what a sparrow is? A sparrow is a bird. Let me show you that picture. That's a sparrow. And the sparrow is with Toad. A sparrow flew down. "Excuse me," said the sparrow. "Did you lose a button? I found one." "That's not my button," said Toad. "That button has 2 holes. My button has 4 holes." Toad put the button with the 2 holes in his pocket. They went back to the woods and looked on the dark paths. "Here's your button," said Frog. "It's not my button," cried Toad. "That button is small. My button is big." Toad put the small button in his pocket. A raccoon came out from behind a tree. "I heard that you were looking for a button," he said. "Here's the one that I just found." "That's not my button," wailed Toad. "That button is square and my button is round." Toad put the square button in his pocket. See, there's the raccoon. And there's Toad. Frog and Toad went back to the river. They looked for the button in the mud. "Here is your button," said Frog. "It's not my button," said Toad. "That button is thin. My button was thick." Toad put the thin button in his pocket. He was very angry. He jumped up and down and he screamed, "The whole world is covered with buttons and none of them is mine!" Toad, getting mad. Toad ran home and he slammed the door. And there, on the floor, he saw his white, 4-holed, big, round, thick button. "Oh," said Toad, "it was here the whole time. What a lot of trouble I made for Frog. Look it, there it is. See?" Toad took all of the buttons out of his pocket. He took his sewing box down from the shelf. and Toad sewed the buttons all over his jacket. The next day, Toad gave his jacket to Frog. Frog thought that it was beautiful. He put it on and he jumped for joy. None of the buttons fell off. Toad sewed them on very well. Check it out. But now Toad has no coat on. Toad is coatless. But wasn't that kind of Toad to give his coat with new buttons to Frog? What do you think, Bailey? Was that a good one today? Did you like that one? You did? Come here. Give me a kiss. Mwah. Thank you. Because you're my best friend, right? I hope you enjoyed this story of the lost button from Frog and Toad. Remember, don't forget to feed yourself and to feed your brain. Feed your brain some brain food.